You're doing well. Today will be a different type of video. It will be a video about the graphic calculator. This is a very powerful tool, and I'll be going through a series of videos on how to use the tools, especially for AS mathematics. We'll start with the elephant in the room, which is being able to graph efficiently and quickly. So when you switch your calculator on, if you switch your calculator on and take to this mode, click menu, and it should take you to this screen here. We will not run a matrix, we will go to graph mode. So you can click 5, or you can click graph mode from here. So let's click 5 right there. So I've got some graphs which I'm going to delete. So if you've written a graph, you can click delete. It will say F1 right here. Go down, delete, and F1. So when you're plotting a graph, you have to be able to understand how to do it. So let's start with the most basic thing, which is going to be an x squared. An x squared here. So use the x on this function right here, and let's write x squared plus 4x plus 4. So this is the x squared function here. You must use this, not alpha x. Okay, not alpha x. So if you execute that, you get a choice: select, delete, type, tool, modify, and draw. First and foremost, we'll draw. We look at it. So you clearly can see this is an okay graph. Okay, so we can look at this graph and say this is an x squared graph. Now I'm not happy with this because I can't see where it intersects. Okay, I can't see where it intersects the line. So what you do here to edit the linings, or edit the gradients, or the gradients from here, is that you go to Shift and you click F3. You'll see here V window. Click F3, and you've got a choice. You got initial, trigonometry, standard, memory, and square. We'll look at standard, F4. Actually F3, sorry. So standard will change everything to 10, which is nice and easy. So now we can exit this and we can redraw our graph, and we have a better image because we can see where it crosses the y-axis. Now in the equation, if it asks for a minimum point for this, you can use this to help you. Okay, so what you do is Shift, and there's something called G-solve. Okay, F5. It gives you the chance for a root. The root is where it cuts the x-axis. The maximum, there's no maximum. The minimum, y-intercept, intersect. Okay, so we'll look at the minimum, because the minimum point, which is F3. So the minimum point is -2, 0. That's the coordinate of the minimum point. Okay, that's very important. Now if you want to find this intercept, we do Shift, G-solve again, and into y-intercept, which is F4. And that gives us an answer of 0, 4. Let's look at a more complicated equation. So you click exit, go up, delete, F1, and write x cubed, plus let's say 3x squared plus 5x plus 4, and we plot this one. You can see here the numbers are okay, and we can plot. So we can look for the maximum and the minimum this time. So Shift, G-solve, maximum is F2. It'll give us the maximum. There's no found here, so that's absolutely fine. So let's draw this again. Let's put a minimum. Let's see if there's a minimum point. G-solve, min. So this one is a special function. Clearly there's no minimum maximum here, so we can't really look at it in that sense, but we can find the y-intercept. Shift y-intercept, which is going to be G-solve. Intersect, we got the root. If you want the root of the equation, the root is here, and if we want the y-intercept, G-solve and y-intercept. That gives us the y-intercept 0, 4. So that's very, very important to look at a graph and be able to do the y-intercept. Now, at A level, we look at a lot about shifting graphs, okay? Being able to understand the relationship of a graph, what's happened to it. So let's look at a typical question that comes in an A level paper, which is x plus 3 all cubed. And at the bottom, we're going to have x cubed. So they might ask you what's happened to this. How did it do? So you clearly can see now the second function becomes a red and the blue function becomes a blue. So if I now draw this, we can see what's happened to it. The curve has been shifted 3 places to the left. Oh, sorry, yeah, 3 places to the left. And it's a transition, so the curve has not changed, it's been shifted 3 places. So that's very, very important to understand that as well. Now, we have to work sometimes in radians, okay? We have to work sometimes in radians, and we have to plot in radians. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go back to the menu, and we'll go to Shift, Setup, and go down to Degrees, and change to Rad, which is F2. Then we go back to Menu, we go back to 5, which is Graph, and we will delete these functions. All of these functions are deleted. And now go on to look at a sine. So if I am given sine x like this, and I'm told to plot sine open bracket pi over 3 and I'm giving x plus pi over 3, I'm supposed to plot something. Like, students take a long time to do this naturally, but because we have a graphic calculator, we can take advantage of this and we can plot it. So if I draw here, you'll find that it doesn't look nice like this, okay? We need to make it easier for us to understand. So if you go to Shift, go to Window, you have an addition called Trig. Now if you click F2 for Trig, that should do everything for you. And then we go back, exit, and redraw this. You should see now it's much better. The window has been better for us. So we know that if you're confused which one's which, just move you can see that the red one is the sine x plus pi over 3. You can see what's happened to the red one, it's been shifted. Okay, and if you want to know where the intercept is, you do Shift G solve and intercept. Y-intercepts will tell you the y-intercept. It also tells you the roots of the equation. You choose a root, you choose an equation. It will tell you the roots of the equation, where it is. Can you see the cursor moving? This is where it cuts the y-axis, the x-axis. You choose the equation you want and it'll give you the roots, and you can go on forever. So you can see the roots there. You choose the equation you want, and obviously this time I want the blue one, sine x. If I want the other one, I do Shift G solve, intersect, or basically root, and it gives you a choice. I'll put equals now, and now again I'm given the other formula or the other equation to work with. So very, very important to understand this and really use this to help you sketch those graphs. Now let's look at a more complicated one. Tan is a more complicated one there. So let's look at tan. So I can hide these, but I'll delete them for now. So let's look at tan of f1. So let's look at tan open bracket pi over 2, and we're going to have a Shift x pi over 2. And I draw. So now we can see where the lines cross. Okay, so again, this is obviously tan is you can always check if it is in the trig window, because we deal with trig. Click trig window just in case. Okay, it is. Exit, redraw the graph. Now, To know where it crosses the x-axis, we do Shift G solve, and we click G solve, and we can see where it's Shift G solve and root, and now we can see where you can see the cursor, the square cursor here, like across there. We can see where it crosses the axes. Which is very, very powerful. So you can see the asymptotes occur where the lines doesn't cross. In graphs we don't draw asymptotes, but it tells you where the graphs changes and what have you. So it's quite important to get that there as well. So let's just summarize what we've learned today in this first portion. We looked at graphs, we looked at how to draw tan graphs, sine graphs, basic cos graphs for the same thing. We also looked at the very important is that if you're working with trig, you go to Shift V window and you click a choice. Standard F3 will give you the normal curve. So if you got a normal curve, you want to plot it like a reciprocal curve or cubic curve, use F3. If you got a trig curve, you use F2. And you plot it, and we learned about the function gsolve. We have x-intercept, y-intercept, minimum, maximum, and other stuff, which is very, very important. Then we said that in the exam, because A-level exam, you have to be able to understand that if it's at the top, it says rad, you are in radian mode. To get out of radian mode, you use shift mode, and go down to shift menu, and go down to the radians. You change it to F3 or F2 and F1, take it to degrees. So that's quite important there. And if you exit, you're left with this. So this is the first video on drawing graphs. Very, very important. Our next video will be able to solve equations efficiently and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching. I'll see you